Hello and welcome back to Intro to Programming. This is our second day of learning about websites. It's going to be so much more exciting than the first day. Not that the first day wasn't exciting. I mean, the first day was phenomenal. This is just going to be like phenomenal squared. So hold on. All right. So hopefully you already watched the internet's wires, cables, and Wi-Fi video. And again, we're just going to do one of these each day just to learn a little bit more about the internet and the web, since that's kind of our focus at this point in the course. The other two videos that are listed here are for when you're working on the lab. So they're just there as like motivational songs, motivational inspirations, really just, there to get you in the mood when you're writing your code. And then there's this file right here, tableimages.zip. All right, so in this unit, most of the stuff that I give you is going to be zipped. And the reason it's going to be zipped is because there's usually lots of files, and I don't want you to have to individually download like 10 files. So instead, I'm going to give you one sort of zip file, and we're going to work through it that way. So let's see how a zip file actually works. All right, so when you're clicking on the zip file, you're going to probably get a screen that looks like this that says you couldn't preview the file. Totally fine. That's going to be normal. All right. Over in the top right, you may or may not have this open with CamAPart. You don't have to worry about that. But you should have these three dots with more actions. You're going to want to click on those, and then you're going to want to choose Open in New Window. All right, that's going to open it up in a separate tab inside of Google Chrome, and then you should have the download icon. All right, so once you open it in a new window, so again, click on these three dots, open a new window, it opens up this tab. You should have the download icon, and then you're going to want to click that. All right, now it should download it to your computer. And to get to that, if you open Windows Explorer, which is the little, or sorry, not Windows Explorer, or File Explorer, which is the little file icon down at the bottom there, and you go to Downloads on the left-hand side, you should see something that has like a little zipper on it. All right, that's the zipped file. Now, to use this, we have to unzip the file. All right, if you just open it, you'll be able to see what's in it. But we're not going to be able to use those files. We have to unzip them. Zipping is a way of like compressing the file so that it takes up less space. But the trade-off is we can't really edit it and modify it like we would a normal file. So we have to unzip it to get it back to normal so that we can use it the way that we need to use it in this course. So to do that, if you right-click on this, you should see an option that says Extract All. It's the third one down. So again, I've clicked on the zipped one, the little zipper. I right-click. I choose Extract All. And then it's going to ask you to it's going to ask you where you want to extract the files to. Like, where do you want to put this unzipped file? So it's up to you, but you could just go to Browse there and again, click on the Downloads folder. If we just want to keep everything there, that might be easiest for right now. But we can select that folder. Notice mine says C users Devona downloads. Yours will probably say C users, whatever your name is, downloads. And then if we hit extract, you're going to see another folder pops up, and this one does not have the zipper. All right, so if I open this, this has all the files that I'm going to need for today. So this table image file, these pictures, this Brady Bunch thing, it's all right there, but you do have to unzip it first to be able to access all of that. All right, so once you've unzipped it, you don't need this anymore. All right, you can just delete it out, especially if your folder's getting a little out of control. So you can delete that out, and I don't need it anymore. I just need the one that's been unzipped. But the zip file gives us like a convenient way for me to get you 15 files all at once instead of you having to download 15 things separately, which would get a little annoying. Okay, so now that I have this open, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this table image file that's inside of this folder. I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose Edit with Notepad++. All right. If for whatever reason that's not there, you can always just open Notepad++ and then open the file. Go to like, let me just show you that quick. I could open Notepad++, file, open, and then go to that downloads folder and open it that way and get to it that way. But you should just have an open with edit with Notepad++, and that'll bring up the code that we want to look at. So before we get into what we're actually going to cover today, I just want to review what's going on in here to recap what we did last class. So if we go through this line by line, we have our very first tag up here, which is just doctype HTML. And that's just letting the browser know that what it's about to see is all HTML and not something else. Then we have a starting HTML tag. And way down here is the ending HTML tag. And that basically marks the beginning and the end of the file, our web page. So the beginning and the end of our web page. So there's the start, there's the end. All right. Inside of the HTML tag, we have the head section and we have the body section. All right. And both of those have starting tags and then ending tags. All right. The head section is not things that actually show up on the screen. All right. So anything we put in the head section is not actually showing up in the browser window. It can show up in other places, but not the actual browser window. So for example, here, this title tag pictures will show up in the little tab up above the browser, but like the word pictures isn't actually going to show up on my web page. It's going to be part of the tab above the browser. All right, down below that, I have the body tag. And this is the stuff that actually shows up in the browser window. So this body tag has an attribute. All right, this is called the style attribute. And I'm setting the background color to pink. So that means my page is going to have a pink background. All right, here's an H1 tag. Now remember, these are our heading tags. And you should sort of use them to help explain what your page is about. All right, so you don't just use the heading tags to make your text, your font size bigger. It's sort of like the outline notes that I talked about in the last video. All right, so this should be the main topic of the page. So the main topic of our page is there anything cuter than a cat? Seems like a pretty reasonable topic. And then we have this subheading, which is our H2 tag, which says reasons why the answer to that question is no. And then we have something new here, which is called the ordered list tag. All right, OL stands for ordered list. All right, notice that it has a starting tag that I've given the attribute color green, and it has an ending tag. And then inside of it are these list item tags. So let's actually see what this does. So I'm going to go to View. I'm going to say View Current File in Chrome, and that's going to open up my page. So first things first, there's pictures up in the browser tab, just like I said it would be. That's what the title tag changes. There's my heading 1 that I made the color red. There's my heading 2 that I made the color blue. Notice how the entire page is pink. And then notice right here, I have picture 1, 2, and 3, and those are numbered 1, 2, and 3, and those are green. Now, if we go back to the code for a second, you're going to notice that I didn't type in the numbers 1, 2, and 3. All right, they were put in automatically because I made an ordered list. All right, ordered list lets you kind of format your web page when you have literally a list with a bunch of numbers in it. So each LI tag automatically increases the numbers. So the first LI tag gets the number 1, the second LI tag gets the number 2, the third LI tag gets a number 3. So just if we look at the structure again, we have a starting OL tag and we have an ending OL tag. All right, that marks the beginning and the end of the list. Now by itself, these don't really do anything. To get the actual numbers, each one of those is an LI tag for list item. So this is the start of my first list item. This is the end of my second list item. This is the start of my second list item. This is the end of my second list item. This is the start of my third list item. This is the end of my third list item. All right, if I were to put a fourth one in there, it'd be the start of the fourth and the end of the fourth. but these are the actual numbers. So there's number 1, there's number 2, there's number 3, but these LI tags need to be inside of the ordered list tag. All right, so this sets it up so the browser knows to expect LI tags, and then this makes it so that we get the individual numbers that make up our ordered list. All right, so one last thing I want to just draw your attention to is notice the indentations. All right, and this is, again, just good practice to get into because it makes your code easier to read. So I have my HTML tag, which is left aligned, and then my head tag is indented from there, and my title tag is indented inside of that. So it's very quick and easy to see, oh, the head tags are inside of HTML, the title tags are inside of head. Same thing, body is at the same level as head because it's part of this HTML tag, and then everything is indented there. So this H1 tag is part of the body, the H2 tag is part of the body, the OL list is part of the body, and then the list items are part of the ordered list, so those are indented one step further. Now, will the web page look exactly the same if I get rid of all these indentations? Yes. But when people are trying to read your code, when you're part of a team, when you're part of a company, they want your code to be readable. And for humans, it's much more readable if you do these indentations. So again, I'm going to be looking for that when you make your web pages, when you submit your labs, and so on and so forth. All right, so that's sort of a breakdown of what's here. Now let's talk about what we're going to be doing. So the very first thing we're going to do is learn how to insert a picture. All right, so if we go back to this folder, you're going to see that there's 3 different pictures here. Now, when we're inserting a picture, it's important to know what type of picture we have. All right, there are lots of types of pictures out there. There's .jpeg, there's .png, there's .gif, there's .jfif. There's all sorts of different pictures. So it's important that when we look at our picture, we know what type it is because we have to reference its type when we insert it into our page. So one way that you can do that is if you click on a picture and you right-click and go to Properties, which is down at the bottom. So I'm right-clicking and going down to Properties. All right, this property window will pop up and it will tell you the type of file. So the type of file here is .jpg or .jpeg. So the full name of this file is not cat, it's cat.jpeg, and we're going to need to use that full file name when we're setting up our page. So to make a picture, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to delete this picture 1, and instead I'm going to put a picture here. So our ordered list, instead of showing text, is going to show pictures. So I'm going to do a less than sign, and then I'm going to type IMG, and then I'm going to do my greater than sign. Now the image tag is a little different in that it is one of the few tags that does not have an ending tag. All right, there is no starting image tag and ending image tag. All right, there is just an image tag. Now, by itself, if I were to save this and launch this, view current file in Chrome. All right, notice the words are gone because I deleted them, but I don't have a picture yet. All right, to actually get the picture, I have to specify what's called the source. So these tags had an attribute called style. When we talked about the links in the last video, they had an attribute called href. An image has an attribute called src for source. So the source is the actual picture file. Now, if the picture is in the same folder as the web page file, all we have to do is use its name. So I can say cat.jpg, and that's enough. If the picture is in a different location, you have to kind of specify where that location is, and it gets a little more complicated. So most of the time, we're just going to put the picture with the file, especially early on. Right? Later on, we might divide them up. But for right now, our picture is always going to be right with our file. So all we have to do is use its name. Now, if I go in here and I save this, I'm going to go back to my site and I'm going to refresh it. And you're going to see that now this picture has popped up on my screen. All right, now it's gigantic, like this is obviously way too big, but I have made a picture show up on my screen. So let's get it down to a more reasonable size. So what I can do in here is the image tag can also have a style attribute. So I'm going to go into my code and I'm going to say style equals. I'm going to put some quotes in there, starting and ending quotes. I'm going to put them both in right away so I don't forget them. And then I'm going to go height, colon, and let's make it 300px, semicolon. And I'm also going to change the width. I'm going to say width, colon, 300px for pixels, semicolon. So again, what I just did there is style equals, inside of quotes, height, colon, 300px, semicolon, width, colon, 300px, semicolon. And then if I save this, because remember, if this is red, it doesn't actually save your changes. So I'm going to hit save. That goes to blue. I'm now going to go back to my website and I'm going to refresh it. And you should see that the picture is now a much more manageable size. And you can change it from there. If you think that's still too big, you can go smaller. You want it a little bigger, you can go bigger. But what I want you to do at this point is try to add the other two pictures. All right, so I will go through it. I'm going to demo it in a second, but you want to try to add those other two pictures on your own and then come back to the video and make sure that you got it right. Or if something's not working and you can't get it working, come back to the video and make sure that you're all set. All right, so take a moment and do that right now. All right, so let's see how we did here. Now again, you need to know the names of the files. So cat2, cat3, and both of these happen to be JPEGs. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to do my image tag, img. I'm going to set the style right now so that I'm going to make them all the same height and width. So I'm going to go height, 300px, semicolon, width, colon, 300px, semicolon, close my quotes. So that part's exactly the same. I'm going to go src equals cat2.jpg, and then close that out right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here, only it's going to be cat3.jpg. So img style equals, not omg, img, get it? 300px, width 300px, src equals, and then cat3.jpg. Okay. And then once I've got that all in there, all right, why is that changing colors? Oh, because I didn't close my image tag. There you go. Got to make sure you close the image tag. Hit save. Go back to my page here, refresh it. And now I have all three of my cats in this beautiful ordered list. So there's the number 1, there's the number 2, there's the number 3. Question is, which is the cutest of the 3 cats? I don't know. It's hard to tell. This one's like tucked in. This one's like hugging a stuffed animal, but I really like this hood. So I don't know. It's a really, really tough decision. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. All right. So that's how you add pictures to a web page. It's this img tag. You have to specify the src, and then it's the name of the file, the full name of the file, so .jpg, .png, whatever it is. And for this to work, the file and the picture have to be in the same folder. All right. For right now, if they're not in the same folder, it's not going to work. So just make sure that the file and the picture are in the same folder. All right. So the other thing that we're going to do today, because you're going to need this for the lab, is learn how to make a table in HTML. So if you want to create a table on your website, how does that work? All right. Well, shockingly, to make a table, the tag is table. I know, it's crazy. Who would have thought? But here we are. It's table. Crazy. Really, really crazy. All right. Now, We're going to have a starting table tag, and we are going to have an ending table tag. And then what we have to do is we have to build the table row by row and box by box. So again, this is where the indentation is going to be helpful because it's going to help keep you organized. So to make a new row, we're going to say TR, and we need to have a starting and an ending TR. So right there, I have made a single row. I don't have any boxes in that row yet, but I've said, all right, my table is going to have at least this one row. If I want to start making boxes inside of that, this is the TD tag. All right, so each set of TD tags is a single box inside of my table. So this would be one row with one box. If I were to go and add another TD, this would be one row with two boxes. If I was to add another TD, this would be one row with three boxes. And then these are my boxes right here, and I can put whatever I want inside of those boxes. I could put pictures, I could put text, but I've created the boxes that the material can go in. All right. Now, if I want a second row to my table, I can just do TR again. So there's a new row. Let me put the ending TR tag in so I don't forget. And then I could go and make boxes again. So maybe I want to make a 3 by 3 table. All right, so I would keep going. Oops. And again, by indenting, it's just making it much easier to see how everything fits together. All right. And if I wanted a third row with 3 boxes, this time I'm going to take the shortcut, and I'm just going to copy and paste this. And now I have a table that has 3 rows, and I know that it has 3 rows because there's 3 TR tags. Remember, this is starting and ending, so here's one row, here's a second row, here's a third row. And then inside of each of those rows, there are 3 boxes. So there's 1 box, there's 2 boxes, there's 3 boxes, 1 box, 2 box, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I can put whatever I want in these. So let's pretend it's like a little tic-tac-toe. 0x, 0x. We'll just pretend this one's x, x, 0, or O. And then let's see. I feel like I need to put some more O's in. O, O, X. Did I make a winner? I'm not really sure, right? So if I were to view this, current file in Chrome, all right, now you'll see I have this little table here, and it might not look like a table, but it's organized as a table. Each row brought me down one. Oh, X did win. They got the diagonal. And each box is a separate box. Now you might be saying, well, where are the lines? If you want lines, those have to be formatted in, all right? They don't show up automatically. It just organizes it as a table. And here, let me instead of putting words in the table, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one of these pictures, and that'll show you even better, and put these pictures in the table. Right, so instead of the letter, I'm putting an image tag inside of my TD tag. And I'm just copying the same image over and over and over again. But I'm just copying that image tag and pasting it inside of my table so that each of these table squares is going to have a picture inside of it. So hold on, I've got one more to do. And then if I save that, you can now see that I've got this table. And this way, it's a little easier to see. You can kind of see the separations there. But each picture is in its own little box. And now I've got a 3 by 3 table with pictures inside of each of the boxes there. All right. Oh, so many tabs open. Let's close some of these tabs. All right, that's what's this. Let's go here. Let's go back to the code. All right, so again, when we're making a table, the key pieces are you have to have a starting and ending table tag, the same way that we needed a starting and ending ordered list tag. Now, by itself, the table tag doesn't do anything, just like by itself, the OL tag didn't do anything. For the OL tag, we needed to use these LI tags or list item tags to actually create the list. Same thing with the table. We have to create the individual rows. So there's my TR tag creating the rows. And then we have to make the individual boxes inside of those rows. So there's one box, there's the second box, there's the third box, and then don't forget your ending tags on the other side. Here's my second row of the table. And then again, there's my boxes. Here's the third row of my table. And again, there's the boxes. And if you want to just make sure that it's working right, let me change these pictures. So I'll make this one cat 3. I'll make this one cat 2. And then row 1 is cat 1. And if I look at this now, oops, I got to launch it again because I closed all my tabs. All right, there's my table with cat 1, cat 2, and cat 3 in all of the different boxes there. All right, so that's kind of what you're going to need today to be able to do the lab. You're going to need to be able to make a table, and you're going to need to be able to add pictures. So let's take a second here and actually see what this lab involves. All right, so as far as what you're actually doing today, all right, there is a lab document here, and you are going to be making the iconic tic-tac-toe table that goes with the amazing television program, The Brady Bunch. Now, if you're saying to yourself, I have no idea what The Brady Bunch is, Mr. Vona, you're crazy. That's what these videos are here for. One will give you the original Brady Bunch theme song. And then one will show you a Marvel parody. And if Marvel is parodying it, it's proof that Brady Bunch is clearly transformational to our current cultural status. You could call it a piece of Americana. It's kind of like apple pie and 4th of July and so on and so forth. So your job is going to be to make the iconic tic-tac-toe board. All right. You're going to be setting the height and width of each pixel, each picture to 200 pixels. You should put a heading above the table using the H1 tag. I don't know why I have that capitalized there. That should be lowercase. Underneath the table, you can use the paragraph tag to write a haiku about your love for the Brady Bunch. If you're not familiar, a haiku is 5 syllables and then 7 syllables and then 5 syllables. If you don't write a haiku, that's fine, but I just would really like you to write a haiku. I think it would be hilarious. And then also you can change the background color of the page. You can change the font color of your heading or haiku. These are like optional things you can do to spice it up a little bit. And if you want, you can also try to center the table. And this little note tells you how to center the table. Long story short, when you finish, you're going to have something that looks like this. All right, so here's mine. All right, it's got this beautiful title, The Brady Bunch, above it. Here's my pictures inside of my table. All right, my table is centered. Again, that's up to you. And then down below, I have my haiku. So it's a really good one. Brady, bunch, bunch, bunch. The Brady, bunch, 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 bunch. Brady, bunch, bunch, bunch. 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. See if you can do better. I doubt it. But this is what you're creating. All right, you're creating a table. All right, so everything we just talked about, the table tag, the TR tag, the TD tag. And inside of each of those boxes you create, you're putting a picture, which is your image tag. Now, if we take a look here for a second, and we go back to our downloads folder, all right, you're going to see that you have another folder inside of there called the Brady Bunch. All right, this is where all of the picture files are. And this is the file that you want to be using. All right, so this is the Brady Bunch file that you're going to be using. And if I right click and choose Edit with Notepad++, you'll see that some stuff has already been set up. All right, the HTML tag has been set up. The head tag has been set up. The body tag has been set up. Closing HTML tag. So all of this is set up. You're going to be adding your table down in the body section and the pictures. Now, if you're wondering about the order of the pictures, I made them numerical. So Brady 1 is the top left, Brady 2 is top center, Brady 3 is top right. So when you're putting them in the table, if you just go in order, Brady 1, Brady 2, Brady 3, Brady 4, Brady 5, Brady 6, Brady 7, Brady 8, Brady 8, Brady 8, Brady 9, they'll be in the right order. Again, if you check the properties, you'll notice that all of these are .jpeg. So it's going to be Brady 1.jpg, Brady 2.jpg, Brady 3.jpg. But it is important that you check because they won't always be .jpegs. So here are the 9 pictures. Here is the file that you're going to use to put them in. The other thing I wanted to show you about this file is right here. This is what's called a comment code. So we do that with a less than sign, an exclamation point, and then 2 dashes. And it lets you put notes in your code that can tell people like what's in your page or like what certain code is doing. It's nothing that actually shows up on the page. So this is just for other humans to read when they're looking at your code. It has no effect of what's on your page. And to that note, I just wanted to show you this because I think it's cool. If you look at the source of an Amazon page, so if I go to the Amazon homepage and I view the source, so you can right click and say view page source. And you scroll down to the bottom of the page. So it's all this stuff here. You scroll down to the bottom. You'll notice that the Amazon site down at the bottom has a comment. And the comment is just like lines and dashes that look like a duck. And then the duck says meow. All right. So does this do anything? No. Did Amazon have to put this in here? Of course not. But my guess is that somebody was bored and decided that they wanted to hide a meowing duck in the code of Amazon's homepage, which I think is hilarious. So anyways, just wanted you to know that that was a comment code. You can put it in there. It will do things. It'll give you notes in your code, but they don't actually show up on the page. All right, so that's what you're doing. All right, you're going to be working inside of this file, bradybunch.html. You're going to be making a table. You're going to be putting pictures in that table. And then there's things that you can do to spice up the page so it's not just a plain white page. All right. So again, if you go back to the lab document, it talks about putting in a heading. It talks about putting in some paragraph tags. It talks about changing the color, the font, and so on and so forth. And you have examples of just about all of this in either the sample code that we just did or the sample code from the first video. All right. The only thing that you might not have code for, now that I say this, is centering text. So if you want to center text, that's again in the style property, and it's text align, and you can just say center. So if you want to center your heading or center your haiku, it can be text align center, and that will center whatever text you have. So on this one here, if I view current there we go, view current file in Chrome. Now this is centered. So again, if you want to center your heading, that's how you would do that, is the text align center. Okay. So again, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, oh, one more thing I want to talk about. When you're submitting your document, when you're submitting your work to show me that you actually did it, the only thing I need you to submit is bradybunch.html. All right. This is the only file that I need you to upload to Classroom and submit. All of the other stuff I do not need and I do not want. So the only file that you need to submit to get credit is bradybunch.html. All right. With that, now I think I can actually stop. So have a good day. If you have any questions, let me know, and we will go from there. All right.